Oh, hey, Sagittarius. Welcome to the Hidden Energies, or as we like to call it, Midnight Messages. Sagittarius. This is really interesting because I feel like there is some destined thing that's happening for you, Sag. And I mean, it could look different for different people. So just keep that in mind when I'm telling you that this could work out in different ways for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be one way. Okay, so yeah, because I'm feeling that. Because I feel like, wow. And it's so funny how a lot of the readings this week are showing up that way. So for instance, I have a Facebook channel where I'm doing reels for all the signs, right? And today, literally so much about karmic justice came out. And that's something that, we don't see a whole lot of. you know, I mean, we think we do. Karma is real, it's neither good nor bad. But it can be like, it's like depending on what you do in life, right? I mean, we've all paid a karmic debt sometimes. And it's kind of like you're either a debtor or a creditor, and it kind of comes around to you. It depends on what you believe. A lot of people believe that karma comes from previous lifetimes, which I believe is also true. But I also believe the things you do will create that account either way. And either way, it's got to be paid at some point, So I know it's so deep, right? But it's true, and I'm seeing it here. I'm seeing karmic justice for you, Sag. But it's almost like, yes, the tables are turning. But it's not the tables are turning and someone is suffering. The tables are turning, and it's kind of like things are righting for you in terms of movement forward and destiny. So underneath the deck, I feel like this is just you, right? The camel boy is here. That's taking small steps. It could be. See, I really don't feel like it's you asking for help, but I do feel as if the Five of Pentacles and the Two of Wands is here. Okay, so I do feel like this is really closing out. Maybe, like, I don't want this to sound dire, but the season of loss. Sagittarius has taken a lot of losses. And I don't mean that in terms of like people dying or losing money or whatever. I mean, it could be all of those things, but it's just really like in a big way about movement forward and ending cycles that maybe are a little hard. I mean, you're starting to see little flashes of light, little flashes of light about your way forward. And you're starting to not just see little flashes of light, but you're starting to see them coming from different directions. So, because with the Five of Pentacles, there's always hope. Okay, the Five of Pentacles isn't all bad. I mean, we see that, we think it's all bad, right? But it's not all bad. It's just kind of like it's the one card right before things come into balance, right? With the Six of Pentacles, it is, so it's like you've been making small steps towards that. And so you're starting to see your choices in terms of your path show up. And it kind of does put you in a crossroads because you have to decide which way you're going, right? You always, I mean, there's like, that's the way destiny works, and that's the way fated paths work. It never is that the universe just puts you on one path. The universe gives you choices. Okay, you always have the power to choose which way you're going. And I feel like that's what's happening. And you're starting to see that, you know, that all of this, the little things that you've done are bringing in flashes of light, and it may be from more than one place. And you know, like that at one point, you're going to have to decide where you're going, right? You're going to have to decide. But that's a good sign, Sag. It actually is. I mean, it may not seem like it because you may still feel as if you're in this crossroads of stagnation. But, you know, with every step you've been taking, you've been getting a little bit further, you know? And so, yeah, that's coming. But that's under the deck. You know, we're still in this journey. And just FYI for everybody, you know, we're still in eclipse season. We still got one to go. You know, so we're in a lot of completion energy. And I try to tell people that every day because they're like, why are these things happening? Why are these chaotic things happening? Why are these past people coming back? Blah, blah, blah. Because we're in eclipse energy. So I will tell you this. I do feel this table turning energy. And basically, there's so much of your energy here, Sag. It's crazy. I mean, except for, no, literally almost every card that represents Sagittarius in terms of people in the tarot, right? Because the Queen of Wands isn't actually technically Sagittarius. I always associate it with Sag, and I also associate Judgment with Sag. And, you know, but the truth is like, Sagittarius is Temperance and the Knight of Wands. And this is all about getting ready, right? Because whether you realize it or not, you're going to have this pivotal moment. Right now, things are still turning. The wheels are still turning, okay? That's what all of this nodal business, all of this stuff going on in the cosmos is about. That's what it's about, Sag. And so, interestingly enough, there is a conversation coming. It's been a long time in coming. There are things that were probably not told to you that are being told to you, okay? And what's great about this is that it's so much in tune with this completion energy, because with Temperance, we're bringing all of the elements into balance. And so when you're given this information, you know, it all makes sense in a way. You know, it's bringing something into balance. It definitely has something to do with divine timing. It definitely is something that's important for you to know because it is tied to destiny. Okay? And the universe, I mean, you may not realize it because it may not seem that big to you, but the universe is bringing this conversation. And it could be that in terms of this conversation, right? I don't know who it's coming from, Sag. But yes, it's been a long time in coming, but there's also been a reason for that. There's a reason why it's been a long time in coming and why it was never the right time before now. I don't exactly know what that reason is. Maybe you weren't ready to hear it. You know, because divine timing always happens when it's trying to push us somewhere. And so I kind of feel like maybe you just weren't ready to go. You know? Yeah. So the resting tree is here, and that's about patience and stillness, which, you know, it just very much reminds me of Temperance too. But the Wheel of Fortune's also your card, Sag, because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So this is a big life change coming. Okay? A fated life change. Because we're seeing the Wheel of Fortune and the Death card. And if you watched the reading earlier, there are big changes coming that are completely going to change life. You know, and for a lot of us, because all of this energy has been so self-motivated with Aries and the nodes, this is really about we come out as completely different people. You know, we come out different, you know, and this is a huge transformation for your life, Sag. And it's one that you've been waiting for and you've been patient about it. You know, I don't know if maybe Sagittarius, because we're very intuitive, you sensed that divine timing was at play. And just try to remember that when this conversation comes in or this information comes in, is that timing was important in terms of this. You know, that can really change how you receive it, right? So here comes all this justice. You got double justice here with the Knight of Wands in the beginning, in the middle. And the truth is that all of this stuff that's happening, this information, this change, this trying to think of the right words. It's writing everything. Like it's putting everything in the right place and putting you into Knight of Wands energy, which is where you're supposed to be. Knight of Wands energy for Sagittarius is how we push forward. You know, it's about getting ready. It's about calling your fire to you. And it, I mean, if you look at this card, I mean, that's the Ace of Wands. Like the Knight of Wands is ready. They're ready for the right time. You know, they're okay in the moment, right? The Knight of Wands is very good with being patient with the moment. So is Temperance. You know, and there were things to do. There's so much here about balance, Sag. You know, there were things that needed to be put in a certain place for you to move forward. You had to become the Knight of Wands and Temperance, actually. But you can't become the Knight of Wands in an effective way without Temperance. Everyone thinks of the Knight of Wands as careless and, you know, just, I don't. I think of the Knight of Wands as a magical card, because the Knight of Wands harnesses the fire. And, you know, and they know that, like, and this is what it is. These things had to come into the right place for you to know where to point it. Right? You know? So believe it or not, like these moments or this moment is maybe more important than you think, Sag. You know, because this is changing your life. And these are the changes that you've been waiting for. And it actually is turning in your favor. It really is. I mean, because, well, justice twice, right? This is like being rewarded for all that you've done. And it's like, I feel like you've made so many changes to yourself. And definitely in terms of impulsiveness, there's not as much impulsiveness in Sagittarius this year or even in the last few months. You know, you've learned how to be still. You've learned how to make the moment count, if that makes sense. Knowing the right time can be really important, and I feel like that's what you've done. And I feel like because of that, things are lining up in a particular way. And you're going to know it. You're definitely going to know it, Sag. And you're definitely going to be happy. Now, what does this mean for you? It means whatever it means. Like, it means your way forward. It may mean that you have to choose between two things. You know, it could be talking about relationships, could be talking about your life path and your goals, your passions. You know, but what you do know here is that it starts with a conversation or information. And that's like the catalyst, Sag. That's the catalyst. And once that happens, you're going to know that things are shifting in a particular place. And then you'll know, because, you know, justice is also about decisions. You'll know because there are decisions being made in your favor. Are you making these decisions? I don't know. I feel like you've done the work. So, and the work has been knowing how to harness and direct your fire, your Ace of Wands. It's not about speed. It's not about, you know, oh, I got to do this right now. No, I mean, this is very like almost logical, like very emperor-like to me. That's what it very much feels like. Like it's like calculated risk, right? You're not really taking any risk here. And, you know, so if you've been waiting for something to change, that's about to come. If you've been waiting, you know, even for a relationship to right itself, that is coming, because justice is turning for you. Okay? Justice is turning for you. And we've seen all this about Sagittarius calling their power back, not dimming their light anymore, being, you know, full on 100% Sag. You know? When I asked what this was about, it was really interesting. Because the Knight of Cups is here with the Six of Pentacles. So I definitely feel like on some level this balance, this thing that's being given to you, this justice that's being given to you is being given to you by another person. But it is completely turning around your life. And we're seeing the Six of Cups with the Empress. I'm not feeling like the Six of Cups is a past person. But what I am feeling like, it might be, especially because if you know anything about eclipses, what's prevalent is another time. You know, so they were saying that pay attention to what was going on for you in November 2021. Right? Because it's going to have something to do with that. Right? And I feel like that's what's happening here. I feel like it is that kind of energy. So I don't feel like it's, you know, you could be having this conversation with someone from the past, but it's actually, everything here is restoring balance in a really good way, right? And it may be in a way that it did in the past. Because the Six of Cups is a gift. The Six of Cups is a turnaround. The Empress is abundance. The Knight of Cups is also not just about love, but it's about dreams. The Six of Pentacles is generosity and resources. And wow, it's just crazy. And also just what wanted to be seen was the Queen of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. You're really receiving a lot of support here. And I don't know if maybe, and it really feels like it may even be like people that you helped in the past all of a sudden show up to support you in some way. Wowza. Wowza, Sagittarius. Look at this, more karma. Judgment, the Magician. Oh my goodness. And the Ace of Wands. Like, dudes, best believe this is coming in. And this is really talking about the end to your stagnation, because you've been really patient, right? You've been patient. You've been doing the work, right? And the Judgment's also like purpose. You're making this happen. You're making this happen, Sag. Wow. Wow. Jesus. Then we're waiting for your ships to come in. And you've been patient. Seven of Swords. Staying low. Eight of Cups with the Nine of Pentacles. Is literally your ships coming in. Honestly. It literally is. You know, it's like, it's also showing you like about the losses, about everything that you've had to walk away from. It's like it's being returned to you. Everything you've lost is returning to you, you know, and suddenly everything's gravy. much. I don't know what else to say. This is the most incredible reading I've ever had for Sagittarius, and very not so much like the usual hidden messages, which were usually dramatic. Hmm. So, Sagittarius, that's what I have for you, and I'm so excited for all of us. Toodles.